Hello and welcome to another Statford Bridge post-match Sunday stream. I broke the first stream, so people will find their way over eventually. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Not a good set of performances from Chelsea in a while. In a while, Chelsea haven't played well. Um, where do we start? Where do we start? Like, you played really well against Villa, and I got suckered back in. I got suckered. I believed I was back in, and then the Wrexham clanger, and I was like, oh, we didn't play very well in that one, and then you get to the PSG game, and like the PSG game is a disaster. And then the Newcastle home game is like so bad. And then you get the second PSG leg, which is even worse than the first leg. And then you get Everton away, which is one of Chelsea's worst performances of the season. And like, I don't know, man. Like, we can talk about tactics and we can talk about players, we can talk about the coach and we can talk about the directors. And it's like, it's all of them. It's all of them. And that's like, I don't think I'm a very doomer guy, but like, I don't know. When, to me, the biggest indictment is NDI scores for 3-0 and Estevao runs from the opposition half past all the players, past all the defenders, past Sanchez, past Caicedo, into the goal to get the ball, then sprints back to the center circle, puts it down for Palmer. And he's the only one. I thought Estevao was great when he came on. I thought he was really, really good when he came on. And you just have nothing. You just have nothing. You had created so little the whole game. Like, it is both true that if we look at the set of results that Rosenior has had, he has been somewhat unfortunate, right? Like the Leeds and Burnley game, you are unfortunate to lose both of those games. The Arsenal game, you're somewhat unfortunate to lose that game. The Newcastle game, you're somewhat unfortunate to lose that game. Everton, you're somewhat unfortunate to lose 3-0. But also, you were pretty fortunate to beat Brentford. You were pretty fortunate to beat Palace. Like, I don't know. This is like probably a little bit low, but about right. And it's everything. The team looks so fucked physically. So finished physically. Like, Caicedo has nothing left in his legs. He has nothing left in his legs. Enzo Fernandez, I thought, was like one of Chelsea's only good players, and he still also looks dead. Gusto cooked physically. Palmer, like, there is nothing left in Palmer's legs. Like, at this point, he's probably going to miss the World Cup. That's how little there is left in his legs. João Pedro, like, not much there for him. Fofana has decided his season is over. He is not particularly interested in playing anymore. Sanchez lets in 2 terrible goals and 1 legit snipe, to be fair. But 2 that you're like, yeah, you should do much better with both of these. And then you have the flip of that. They're like, well, Sanchez was really good for 3/4 of the season. And then Rosenior like nukes him for reasons unbeknownst to me. And like now you have 0 performing goalkeepers. Reece James is injured because Rosenior didn't rotate. Romeo Lavia is an apparition. He is an impression of a good footballer. He does nothing. He doesn't win second balls. He doesn't move the ball forward. He doesn't Actually, that's not true. He moves the ball forward at an okay rate. He doesn't create shots. He doesn't prevent shots. Like he's, I don't know. Neto. Every week we watch Neto. And he just, I don't know. We watch Neto run around and do nothing. Like, Garnacho sucks. Garnacho's not good, and I'd rather watch him fail 88 million times over Neto. Cucurella looks like not capable. Like, 100% you have to move him this summer. There's nothing there. That Hato had an okay game. Like, Andre Santos came on, was terrible. Why are we getting I just muted the microphone. Why are we getting Tosin in the 78th minute down 3-0? Please explain that to me. Why are you bringing on Tosin Adarabioyo in the 78th minute down 3-0? You did it against PSG. You did it against Everton. It is embarrassing. It is shameless and it is embarrassing. I do not really have anything else to say about that man. And so when you look at all of it, I do not understand anything that is going on. I do not understand. These are like reasonable minutes for the subs. Like these are fine places to do your subs. But like, why? Why is he so late? If you like, Delap sucks, but whatever, bring him earlier. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get any of it. I don't get any of it. None of it makes sense to me. And I don't know. I wish so. Hazard7 says, I wish someone would ask valid questions and pressers because this really feels like a setup sometimes. I would love someone to ask, please explain to me how you thought bringing Tosin on in the 70th minute would help you win the game. Ask him. And nobody will, because like the club would boot them from press conferences because Joe Shields is whatever. It is what it is. I don't care anymore. I don't care. And so now you look at the table. Villa beat West Ham today, and you've got this like very weird setup of like it's you and Liverpool now and Brentford kind of. Like Villa, the 5 points is probably enough. 5 points in 7 games is probably enough. With the caveat that like they play nobody. Like Villa are probably in after they've won today, and you've not applied the pressure. So it's you and Liverpool, and you play Liverpool. So that's probably what it is. Like you hope that they drop the Fulham game because they're knackered between the PSG tie. You hope. But like, and you hope United like need to win on the final day, that this isn't a cakewalk. Like, I don't know. Or I guess they're not the final day. Yeah, they've got Villa still. Like, I don't know. But it's you and Liverpool. That's kind of where it's at. And Villa with a chance. But again, all these teams suck. Just win like 4 games in a row and you're in. And we can't do it. I don't know. I don't know anything. The club will not sack Rosenior before the end of the season because they have a break clause that if he doesn't make Champions League, they can fire him for free. So they won't fire him before that. Even though I think it is very clear at this point that the players have quit on him. I think it is very, very clear that the players have quit on him. Yeah, I think there's no world where he's making it happen for you. I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? Because like I don't have anything else for you. The team's bad. They're not fun. They're not like. Give me anything. Like, why is Josh not playing? Josh, I don't even think Josh is that good. I think Josh is a really good prospect, but I don't think he's that good yet. Like I think he's just good, which is fine. But like he is better than Fofana, who doesn't give a fuck. He is better than Tosin. I don't understand. Just play him. Look at the beginning of the season. He was good. I don't understand. Adam Regan says, do you think heads roll this summer? Surely the sporting directors can't survive. I think the most interesting outcome this summer is if Edwards is genuinely unhappy with Liverpool, which is like the reporting this week. I could see them firing both and hiring those two guys. To me, the most interesting and like obvious path is you fire both of the sporting directors, or you just keep Paul Winstanley and you hire Dan Ashworth above him. And so you have Dan Ashworth, who like actually can run a club, and is like, Ashworth is not the guy who like makes footballing decisions. He is, but he's the guy who like organizes all the disparate parts into a cohesive thing. I would love Dan Ashworth in the summer. I would love Dan Ashworth. You fire Stewart. I also like we still don't know what like Dave Fallows is doing. Like they hired Dave Fallows and like I don't know, who knows what he's doing. My hope is that the Fallows appointment was the owners saying like, we know that they're fucking up. We're going to give this guy a year to see what they're fucking up, and then he's going to fix it. That's my fantasy pipe dream. The Booyah Man says the sporting directors aren't going. They just got new contracts. The owners are very happy with them, clearly. I mean, we have no idea what the details of their new contracts are. Convex says, why did Ashworth separate with United? Dan Ashworth was fired by Sir Jim Ratcliffe in favor of Omar Barada, who was working underneath him, because the story that has been told and the story that I have heard is that Ashworth, after they chose to Ashworth wanted to fire Ten Hag in the summer. Everybody else was like, no, we just won the cup. Like, you got to give him some more time. And they gave Ten Hag a little while. They fired him. And Ashworth said, can we have a real process here? Let's hire an analytics consultancy. Let's do a real proper search of like, who is the right style of play we want to play, who has the right characteristics about playing young players and playing blah, 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 that fit what we want to do at United. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe was like, well, no, I want this done quickly. And Omar Barada was like, I met Ruben Amorim. Like, I think he's the guy. Like, Ruben Amorim, like, he's the guy. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe met Ruben Amorim and was like, he's the guy. And they hired Amorim. And Ashworth was like, okay. And so they fired him for wanting a real process, which is something that I would like at Chelsea. I would like a real process, not this like crackhead agent baroning and like kinetic, like it's a fucking Ponzi scheme and cronyism. And like, it's like what I imagine the economy of like the back alleys of Bangkok are like, where it's just like who you know, and like there's a diamond shipment coming in. And then actually you're the mark. There's not a diamond shipment. It's all cubic zirconia. And you're the mark the whole time. Like that's what Chelsea feel like, is just this massive fucking Ponzi scheme. Dimitri had a really good tweet about Rosenior in relation to Rosenior and in relation to everything at the club. Liam Rosenior is absolutely the perfect figurehead for this project, capable of delivering pseudo-intellectual sound bites that sound impressive to very dumb people, but in reality completely clueless when it comes to delivering wins. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's right. What do we have here? Ancelotti after Brazil in the World Cup. It's fun to imagine, but do you actually believe this is possible? Likely. I think it's possible the sporting directors are moved in the summer. Like, to me, they have now picked two managers because presumably Boley picked the first one. Both have gone poorly. I think if the summer comes and like some of the really good players are like, I want to go, I think you get put into a position where you have to make decisions. I think also if you come into the summer and like good players don't want to come because they're like, I don't know, this is a bit of a disaster at this point. I think you get put into positions to make that decision. But to me, like, it's possible. I don't know if it's likely, if that makes sense. Adam Reagan, I wonder what Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart are thinking right now, right at the second. It's a good question. I would love to know. What do I think of Dimitri saying Rosenior is better than Maresca and that the latter is painfully mediocre? I don't think Rosenior is better than Maresca, but I think they are both in the same tier of like average-ish. Like, I don't think Rosenior is as bad as the last 4 games have gone. I do think he is like absolutely huffing his own farts and thinks he's like, he thinks he is a top manager. And so he is doing a lot of these like dumb galaxy brain things that don't work. And then, I don't know, like I don't think he's that bad, but I think he's doing a bad job, if that makes sense. I think the same is true of Maresca. I think Maresca is like a reasonably good coach who did a bunch of things dumb down the stretch. And also like same deal as Rosenior, like started to huff his own farts and say like, I am so good. I won the Conference League. I won the Club World Cup. Look at me. I'm the best. And then you have one injury to your squad and you can't figure out anything. So like, I don't know. What should the process be for the next manager hunt? What does the new guy need to be good at? To me, the Chelsea manager needs to be good at a few things. One, they have to use the academy. The academy is still really good. There's still lots of really good players. Playing academy players is good for player trading. It's good for what the clubs say the model is supposed to be. And the players are good. They help you win games. So you should definitely do that. 2, they have to be good defensively. Fans at Chelsea will forgive a lot of quite dull football if it means that you are really solid defensively. Like that is absolutely priority number 1 is like, no, we need to be a solid defensive team and like we can figure out attacking stuff later. But like this team has no chance if they're going to concede 50 goals this season. They have no chance. I think third for me, like I want someone who is a pretty big squad, rotate a lot guy. I just think the reality of like the Champions League and European competitions and playing twice a week is like you have to use a big squad and use lots of players and you have to rotate appropriately. I think Maresca had the A team, B team thing, which I think is very difficult when all of a sudden you don't have hard game, easy game, hard game, easy game with Conference League. So this person probably needs to be better than that and better at using their squad, but absolutely having a legit squad, I think, or a legit rotation and legit squad usage will be very helpful. I want someone who like reasonably cares about data and set pieces. Because again, these things matter and help you win. And those are the main, and then like also like has to have some reasonable plans and ideas about like how to build up. Because I think if you turn the ball over, it doesn't matter how good you are defensively. Like you do have to reliably progress the ball. So, I mean, use the academy, use your squad, be able to get the ball out of your half and be solid defensively, and like I'm fine with the floor that gives you. Like ultimately the thing that people are going to have to realize at some point is like the players Chelsea have aren't that good. So like you either need a coach who's going to like really 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 elevate them, or some of the players have to improve a lot, or you need to get better players. Like that's unfortunately the reality of this team is like they're just not that good. Like if you ask me, players who are good enough to be in the 11, the best 11 for a team who wins a title at Chelsea right now. Like if we go players that I think are good enough to be in the 11 for a title winning team. And this is going to be really weird. Enzo I think definitely good enough. Trev I think is good enough. People will disagree, but I'll come back to this. Sanchez probably not. João Pedro probably not a starter for a title winning team. Caicedo definitely good enough to play for a title winner. James definitely good enough to play for a title winner. Cucurella maybe, but probably not. Gusto no. Palmer yes. Fofana maybe. Garnacho not a starter for a title winning team. Andre Santos not a starter for a title winning team. Estevao in the future will be, so I'll count him 7. And then I'll add Levi Colwill, even though he's injured, 8. So you have 8 players that could be in the 11 for a title winning team. And you're like, wow, that's a lot of players. You should probably be pretty close to a title. The problem with this, though, is a lot of the players that I said there would be the worst player for their role. Or they would be like the weak link, but like just good enough for their team. Like Chalobah, I think, could be your second center back for a title winning team, paired with a very, very, very good center back. Like, I think it is entirely plausible that you could win the league with a center back pairing of Colwill and Chalobah, or Colwill and Fofana. Like, everybody wants to buy a new center back. I get it. Everybody wants to buy a new center back. I totally understand. I think it is entirely possible that the trio of Colwill, Fofana, Chalobah is good enough to win a title. However, and I think Reece James also good enough. So like if you told me you're going to get 38 games of Colwill, Fofana / Chalobah, Reece James, I'm like, yeah, 100%. But then like left back is a problem, and goalkeeper is a problem behind them, and you like it's not great, you know what I mean? And then you have like, well, how many games are you going to get out of Colwill? How many games are you going to get out of Reece James? And all of a sudden, like, well, you're not playing that team all the time. So that's a problem. Then you go into midfield, and like, I think both Enzo and Caicedo are fabulous players. I think I think the like talk of them not working together as a midfield is somewhat overblown. I do think it definitely needs a third midfielder. Like you can't play those two guys in Palmer. And that third midfielder probably has to be better than Andre Santos. So how good are those guys actually? To me, you could put Enzo or Caicedo in Arsenal and they would look very, very good. Like Enzo as Odegaard and Caicedo as Rice, I think their team also looks very good. Or Caicedo as Zubamendi, their team looks amazing. But they're like, they need a third guy next to them. Like Zubamendi is so clear of Andre Santos, obviously, which is like, great, thank you for your detailed analysis, Kieran. Like, no shit. And then you go to the front line. Like Palmer had 1.5 really good seasons and is now coming up on 1.5 seasons of like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Jonathan Bajomo says, I think you're being a bit generous on Colwell and Chaloba. As much as I love them, would be the second best player at center back in a title winning team. That's literally word for word what I said. Was that they'd be, I think Colwell could be the best center back on a title winning team with like another very good center back. But that's literally how I described them. And then you get into the front like Palmer, I don't know. And then João Pedro is like has had a very good year, somewhat out of line with the rest of his career. We'll see if that maintains for next year. But like probably not the guy. So you get to a team now, and then it's like, okay, and now you ask yourself the question of who is good enough to be 12 to 14, right? Like who's good enough to be the first subs off the bench? And then you're like, it's a lot of guys in a similar tier of like, they could be if the starters are really good. Like Chaloba can definitely be in that role. João Pedro can definitely be in that role. Neto, no, he can't be. He's just not. He's had the best year of his career, and it's not good enough. Cucurella can probably be in that role. Gusto could maybe be in that role. Palmer can definitely be in that role. Garnacho could be in that role if you had a really good starting set of players. Like, he's fine. He might be in that role in the future. Andre Santos, maybe. And you just get a lot of like, I don't know, maybe Delap, no. Tosin, no. Josh right now, no. Hato, not right now, no. Benoit, no. Gittins, no. Jorgensen, no. Lavia, no. And it's just like, this is the thing, is the point. This is the point. Is they're just not that good. The whole team is just not that good. And at some point, if you actually want to win things, your players have to either, the players you buy have to get better, or you have to buy better players. And the players aren't going to get better because you change the coach every year. And I don't know. Like, they are doing everything they can to make it not a viable project. They buy too many players when minutes are a resource for player development, and there's not enough minutes to go around. Like, the lone merry-go-round of Sarr, Anselmino, and I don't even know who is the other player. Well, just Sarr and Anselmino, really. Was so dumb. Like, I cannot express the degree to how dumb doing this stupid lone merry-go-round was. You have you don't get Jeremy Jeke, whatever, who cares? I was not mad about that. So you bring Sarr in, and then because you bring Sarr in, you have to fill the slot at Strasbourg. So you do that with Anselmino, who doesn't play at Strasbourg. And now all of a sudden, neither of those guys are playing. What's the point? Like, I can go look at their games. I can tell you who didn't play. Not Anselmino. Again, he doesn't play. He's not even dressing. He's probably injured. Like, I just don't. I don't know. So, like, what? How does that make any sense? As a plan, I don't know. Curious as to where you've landed with Hato as the season come to a close. Feel like he's made great strides, but not sure he'll be more than a backup. I'm in the same place that I was at the beginning of the season with him, which is that he is a useful player. He's a useful player who will like be helpful cover at two positions. I still liked the transfer. I think the fee was a little bit high, but he's like useful and cares. So I have no problem with that. And like, given it's his first season, like he looks very similar to like first season Timber. So let's see. Like, as an adaptation year, I wish he'd played a little bit more, to be honest with you. But like, he's gonna finish the season with 2190s or something, and like that's pretty fine by me for a first year. Let's say you have a blank slate this summer. What sporting director and coach are you bringing in to change the model of the club? Somebody else mentioned like international managers. International managers that I would genuinely take a look at for Chelsea. I would definitely give Nagelsmann a call. Nagelsmann comes with his own. He has a sporting director that he wants to work with. That's. I probably wouldn't get that guy, but I would definitely give Nagelsmann a call. I think Nagelsmann is like a real coach. I would be very into. Obviously, my number one choice would be Alonso. Alonso would be my number one choice by a lot. Would be Alonso. I think Alonso is going to go to Liverpool when they sack Slot. I would be pretty into hiring Slot. Like, I would have no qualms with hiring Slot. I think Slot's a really good coach. So we start there. I think the idea of like a sporting director coach combo matters. So like, I think Ashworth is like a really good fit with a lot of these guys because he's like, again, he's like he is a good figurehead who runs everything. He's not a trumped up scout. You know what I mean? International managers, yeah. Nagelsmann is the number one. Tuchel would never come back. I don't think there's. I think Tuchel is like happy to just manage England and do his thing. So I don't think Tuchel is viable. I would not hire Ancelotti. So like that's out. And then the rest of the international managers I don't really have any interest in. So that's what I think of international managers. But sporting directors wise, like Ashworth is really appealing to me. Edwards, if you can get him, is very appealing to me. I do wonder about like, can you tempt someone with effectively infinite money from another team? Like, if you go to Campos and say, we will give you $25 million a year. I don't know. And then coach wise, like the long list is Alonso, De Zerbi, Farioli, Slot, McKenna. I'm just trying to think of like random names off the top of my head. That's kind of like my list right now. But you got to be careful, like, because if you get Farioli or De Zerbi, like, who knows? Fabregas is on the long list. I think Fabregas would not leave Como though, because he has like an ownership stake in Como, so it's like there's a weird thing. And so if they make Champions League, like 0% chance he leaves. I don't know. Sam Wood, Rosenior said he idolized De Zerbi and feel the bait and press thing don't work. I think De Zerbi, the problems with De Zerbi are not the soccer. It's the everything else. It's the everything else. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. We'll see. But I'm fairly confident Chelsea will miss Champions League and there will be a new coach in the summer. And we will see if it's these directors who get to choose it or it's another set of directors who get to choose it. I don't know. ZZZ, have you shifted off Iraola? Iraola is definitely on the list. I feel like Iraola is 100% going to Spurs. But like, I don't know if he's my top choice. Neiman Desfelice says Stuttgart manager Sebastian Hoeneß. Hoeneß is interesting. He's on the long list. Yeah, I mean, it's a long list of guys. Felipe Luis is on the list. Harry Hudson, first team manager, hashtag connect. Callum McFarlane, Harry Hudson duo, man. Joe Shields on the bench. I don't know. I really, really don't know. I don't see. I don't know how it goes. Iraola will probably go to Bilbao since Valverde is leaving. Very possible. I also could see Iraola going to Palace to replace Glasner. Gru682 says, would Onana at Villa work in midfield 3? Onana is my number one choice, him and Chouameni, or the third midfielder. I think he solves so many problems. He makes you better on set pieces because he's so good in the air. He is like much more of a sitter profile, which frees Caicedo to go blow stuff up without like destroying your ability to screen. I think it makes total sense. Total sense. Yeah. Interested to see how much stock you have in the Joe Shields kinetic brother-in-law theory. I mean, the Joe Shields connections are like very obviously there and obviously real. So I don't know how much stock I'd need to have so much as just like it's a thing. I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here, which I feel like I've said so many things. Daniel said, have you read the article The Blues Feed released today? No, I haven't seen that. I don't know who The Blues Feed is. The Blues Feed. Let's see. X article. The Blues Feed understands Chelsea are preparing for a major squad overhaul this summer with changes anticipated across every area of the pitch. Meanwhile, pressure continues to build on Rosenior with more on his situation below. At least one of Chelsea's goalkeepers to leave this summer, though there is a realistic scenario in which both depart. Both understand a number one role, while Penders is currently earmarked as the club's long-term first choice. Should both goalkeepers leave, Chelsea may look to bring in an experienced option to complement Penders. Someone I like is Nick Pope, currently out of favor at Newcastle, offering both experience and reliability. Is he really offering reliability if he is out of favor to Aaron Ramsdale? I mean, I think it's very clear that Penders is going to start next year now. Given all of everything that's happened, I think they're just going to start Penders now and like say we will live with the growing pains because at least he's young and probably good. So like I think that's probably for real. Ruben says, is there still Maignan links for free? I don't know if Maignan has signed a new contract. I do think you have to be really... Yeah, he did. He signed a new contract. So no. Yeah, so you're not doing that. I would probably not I would not do that. I don't mind that Chelsea have gotten out of that, like not done that deal. You probably should have done it with the hindsight of this season, but like it's not the worst thing in the world. What would I think of Pope as second choice just for the lulz? I think you should get a domestic experienced goalkeeper as your backup, but I don't know if Pope would be my choice. Maybe. Abel T, you keep saying this message. Surely Lavia is a better fit than Andre. Andre comes on and loses the ball with his first touch, loses the ball cheaply in the lead with a second goal. Also, he's slow and can't defend transition. You've sent this message 6 times, and I have not answered it 6 times because it's not true. Lavia is terrible. Andre is a much better player than him. He was very poor last game, but he is still better than him. Sam Wood has Penders been good at Strasbourg. Shot stopping numbers look unremarkable. Pender's been all right. Like he has adjusted better than I thought he would. Like 31 goals from 33 XG in the league, which is like close enough to average. It's just average. And then in the Conference League, 7 from 9. Like, I think you're pretty happy with that as a season for a 21-year-old going from Belgium to Liga. Like, no qualms with that at all. I personally would like him to get one more, especially if Strasbourg made Champions League. I would want one more season of like legit all the games to be sure. But like, I think you're pretty happy with his season overall. I personally would not have him as the starter next year, but it is what it is. Defenders. At center back, Chelsea are expected to sanction multiple departures. As many as 3 or potentially even 4 could leave. With Tosin, Bediashile, Fofana, and Chalobah, all players would look to sell. That is without mentioning Disasi, who is also expected to depart. Okay. Tosin, I think you will move because he hasn't played as much as he would have liked, and I think you'll be able to move. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe he'll be a starter. Bediashile, I think everybody has just said, like, it's over. You'll move him for a sizable loss, and he'll be very good wherever he goes, and will somehow magically stay fit now that he's at a new place. Fofana, you aren't moving. You are not moving him without a huge loss. It's not happening. Chalobah is good. You should not look to sell him. Without mentioning Disasi, I think you'll get a decent move for Disasi. He's been very good for West Ham. There are also doubts surrounding Josh's future. His camp are increasingly concerned about his lack of minutes at both U21 and senior level, having already applied pressure on the sporting directors last summer. Chelsea are targeting at least 2 incoming center backs with Premier League experience being targeted. Again, who are the players with, like, let's say they go get John-Paul Van Heck, who's like an interesting player, really, really solid passing numbers, looks like kind of mid as an actual defender. Sure. And you go get Kanate. Okay, you've spent a whole bunch of money and your center back room is not that much better. It's probably better, but it's not that much better. And if you lose Josh, like, you have bungled it so bad if you lose Josh. And again, they I don't know. Reports that Vuskovic has no intent in going back to Spurs would be interesting, but to see. I love Vuskovic. I would love him. I don't know. And it is true. He's right to be concerned that he hasn't played all year, either at U21. Like, he's just not playing enough minutes. And so it's hard. I thought at the beginning of the season, in the summer, I would have loaned Josh this year. Because I thought he wasn't going to play enough minutes, even with Levi down injured. And then he played at the beginning of the season. I was like, oh, maybe not. And then they mothballed him for 9 months. Like, you should have just loaned him. So he needs minutes. He needs games. Like, part of the reason he's not that good yet, where, like, he's a very good prospect, but his actual performances are, like, just okay, is because he hasn't played enough. He has to play more. At fullback, Cucurella is understand to be open to a return in Spain while still in his prime years. Chelsea could consider cashing in if suitable offer arrive. Yeah, they should. But also, like, all of this is so non-specific. Like, anyone in our chat could write this and just post it, and it would be totally believable. In midfield, at least a couple of changes are expected. Enzo Fernandez is not considered untouchable, and his future could depend on incoming offers. We've seen this gather pace already. Blah, 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 blah. Santos previously looked set for a departure under Maresca and now struggling for minutes, which could, again, this is like all could, maybe could, possibly could, as many as who knows. This means nothing. I'm mad that I'm even reading this, but now we're here, so I'm going to finish it. Lavia is another player whose situation remains uncertain. A loan or even a permanent exit cannot be ruled out. Again, this means nothing. It's just so dumb. Asugo may also leave on loan. Sure, whatever. At least one wide player is expected to depart. Garnacho, Gittins, and Neto have all underperformed. Estevao and Kenda, blah. Garnacho continues to attract strong interest across Europe. Chelsea will be in a position to generate profit or at a minimum recoup their investment. This is one that I have heard that, like, could totally see Chelsea being like, yep, we tried for 1 year. He didn't hit the way. We'll sell him for exactly what we paid for him to somewhere in Spain. Villarreal will pay us $35 million for him or something like that. I could totally see that. Neto is attracting interest from Barcelona and clubs in South America. I would sell my soul. I would commit crimes of unspeakable natures to move Neto to Barcelona specifically. Oh my God. Gittins is viewed as less likely to leave, and the difficulty in recouping his transfer fee. Yeah, you're not getting any of the money back on him. So it is what it is. Chelsea are expected to target a dependable winger with Premier League experience, highly valued. Again, all of this stuff is like exactly counter to what we read on the last podcast about like, yeah, they don't want Semenyo because he's too expensive. So like, what winger with Premier League experience are you getting? Because you have like, well, Garnacho and Neto have Premier League experience. So like, what are you doing here? I don't know. Are you going to get like, who's the winger you're getting with Premier League experience that's going to be the one here? I don't know. Delap has disappointed since arriving and has yet to meet expectations both in matches and training. Yeah, because he's not good at football. However, there remains strong interest from across the Premier League in Europe, which should make him relatively easy to move on. Yeah, 100% you'll be able to move. I don't think you'll make a profit, but you'll be able to move him for whatever you paid. I think fairly easily. People targeting Neto when he's infinitely better than Garnacho and Gittins. I don't know about if I agree with that. Jackson is expected to leave, with Aston Villa viewed as a potential destination, a possible swap deal with Rodgers. That's just making things up. Just making things up. That's like, sure. Guiu, likely departure, either on loan or permanent. Again, another one that like should have just gone on loan this year and played 30 games, and we can figure out exactly how good they are. Like this is the thing that I don't understand. Let's go through the list of players who are here. Shimmuka has 100 goals in the U21s. Why is he still here? Go on loan and play against men. We said at the beginning of the season when we talked to Chelsea youth, he's had an okay first season in the U21s. Let's give him 6 months, see how he is, and then we decide if he's ready for senior football. He hit January, and he was objectively ready for senior football. Let him go play against men. Asugo, coming back from injury. I have no problem with you saying we want to manage it, keep him here. Fine. Sarr, there was no reason to bring him back. Lavia, never fit. Fine. You got to keep him here for whatever. Tyreek George, didn't really play. How did Neto's numbers compare to Garnacho's, mate? Worse per 90. Garnacho just plays less. That's the whole conversation. Tyreek George didn't play at all, has gone to Everton and been like semi-interesting, but like not really playing. Fine. At least they got the loan done. Guiu, again, 690s here for what? Like, just go put him on loan to go play 30 games. My God. Buonanotte, again, pointless to bring him in on loan. Josh, 1390s is like, honestly, not terrible. That's actually more than I anticipated it, to be honest. But again, like, how much better off would he be with 3590s? It's actually many more than I thought it would be. Delap, whatever, we've talked about this. Tosin, whatever, we've talked about this. Like, give all of Tosin's minutes to Josh and just move on with your life. And everything's good. Everything's good. Neto has played twice as much as Garnacho, and he has 5 more goals and assists. And this is not including 2 assists for Garnacho, where one is a shot that gets blocked on the goal line into an own goal, and one that he squares it across the 6 and turns into an own goal. So it's actually 16-13. So I don't know. I just I don't know. You're hard on for Garnacho is a classic example why so many people despise tactical data nerds. Again, you don't even have to be just count the goals and assists. You don't need XG, you don't need XA, you don't need progressive carries, you don't need anything. Close your eyes and say how often does he score, how often does he assist? Compare him to Neto. More when he plays is the answer. I don't understand. You don't need anything. He has had more goals at 20 than like 11 players ever. You don't need tactical data to look at him and be like, yeah, I don't know, he's pretty good. Every single person who isn't at Chelsea and isn't like an angry Man United fan is like, I don't know, this guy's pretty great. Every single person, all of the people who are not chronically online, even United fans who are not chronically online, are like, I liked Garnacho. I don't know why he's gone. I don't. It's not a like difficult conversation to have. So whatever. Can we agree on Lavia being Chelsea's best player and build up in the first third? No, I can't agree on that. It's clear Rosenior wants to avoid the keeper kicking it long, yet players like Andre aren't press resistant. I think Andre is fine. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think they have mismanaged a lot of the minutes here for like I think they have mismanaged a lot of the minutes for a lot of these guys. That's the main thing. The big question on Neto, okay, Cobalt Prod, Garnacho can get goals, assists. Would love to see him beat a man, though. The whole point of beating a man is to get goals and assists. So if he gets the goals and assists, who cares about the other stuff? This is the whole point. The whole point of football is to score more goals than the other team. So if a player leads to you scoring goals, who cares about everything else? I don't like. The big question on Neto Garnacho is why have Maresca and Rosenior play Neto more? Because they're both fucking cowards. Neto plays second left back when he plays. He plays second left back. That's why. Because Neto has the appearance of working hard. I like, there's nothing I can do. If after this season and everything we have watched this season, where Garnacho scores or assists like basically every time he plays, like the guy has been very productive, and you're like, actually, I want that Neto guy instead. I can't help you. You're beyond saving. You're beyond saving. I can't help you. I can't help you. So, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah. 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 What are you going to do? Omega expected to arrive to compete with João Pedro. Yeah, for sure. He hasn't played all season, so I'm sure that's going to go well. Sure. I actually think the club should do significantly more like slightly pre-peak Premier League guys, like the way Liverpool got like Jota, I think is like a really good example of like you get guys who are that were decent in the league, just pre-peak, like have had good seasons on reasonable prices. Like I think that's your like your niche that you really want. Like if I'm looking at the Premier League this year in terms of guys that I'm interested in, like can you go get yourself a like what does Ndiaye cost? Like I don't love Ndiaye, but like what does Ndiaye cost from Everton? What does Mateta cost you from Palace? What does I don't know. Who's like somebody that will either narrowly stay like what is Elliot Anderson gonna be you is gonna cost you? What is I don't know, if West Ham go down, who's interesting? What does Fernandez cost you? Like those are, you probably want to look at more of those kinds of signings. I think that's actually a reasonable strategic change. Mateta, 5 question marks. Mateta's good. Mateta as a backup striker for this club would be so good. Off the bench to like smash people and then start against bad teams, Mateta would slap. He's big, he gets you out, he can press a little bit, he runs in behind, he attacks crosses. There's some sympathy with the club regarding the difficulty of taking over mid-season. However, the expectation was that he would stabilize the off-field issues and restore performances to the required level. Ambitions of progressing, believe the top 3 is achievable. Concerns have grown following the heavy defeat. Cheers. Thank you for the top insight here. For me, it looks like the players haven't bought into this approach. I mean, like, this is, I don't know who said we should look at this. Somebody let me know who said we should look at this so I can ban them from chat, because there was nothing to talk about there. I don't know. Kier, what do you think of Enzo? I just got here. Enzo's good, man. Good footballer. He's like a weird fit for a lot of things, but he's quite good. We would be worse if he left, for sure. Like, I know people don't like him, but we would be worse if he left, for sure. For sure. And I think, like, not to be that guy, but like at some point, a lot of this just comes down to like Palmer playing really bad. Like this is not a super fun thing to talk about, but like if you take away like non-penalties, like 0.43 is like just okay. It's not good enough for like the level of like defensive disaster that he has been this year. And there's not enough. There's not enough. Like, if he plays bad, like if he doesn't play well, like there's a pretty hard ceiling to this team when your best players don't play well. Daniel, Rosenior talks about how the team have played the most games in our leggy and then deploys a style of play that requires insane running and doesn't rotate at all. I agree with you. Like, to me, I think you have to. I think you can't like just choose not to press, right? But I do think you need to. I do think you need to rotate to accommodate that. Garnacho gets into shooting positions and is relatively productive, but how do we factor in his greediness when looking at his data? Garnacho has like one of the highest XAs in the entire Premier League. Like, he has created higher quality chances than basically everyone else. Like, if we Garnacho, like that, I just don't think is a real thing. Yeah, 96th percentile XA. Is he greedy? Would you say Palmer is greedy, even though this guy creates twice as many chances? I don't know. I don't think that's... Yeah, 90th percentile chances created, 90th percentile big chances created. Like, I don't think that's a accurate depiction of how this year has gone for him. Bring Barco for Enzo. I'm cutting ties with this whole sport. Yeah, that would be an interesting... I like Barco. I think he's a useful player. I would totally bring him. But Seb watching this right now with the biggest smug smile on his face. Seb is not smug. Seb is lame because he's just like, I don't like, this sucks. It's my team and my team is bad. Top Dog has finally come around. Garnacho's the best player in the league. No contest. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you've come around to the light. I'm glad you've come around to the light. Again, to be clear on my position, I don't think Garnacho is the best player in the league. I just think he's useful and is better than Pedro Neto. And I don't think he's selfish. Like I don't think any of these things are particularly controversial. Like he has been useful. He hasn't been amazing, but he's been useful. Definitely not Chelsea's worst winger. He's been probably Chelsea's third best winger behind Esteban and Palmer. And Palmer's been not great. But I think he's been useful and is cost half of what both Neto and Gittins cost. So, like, certainly not the player that I'm aiming my blame at. So, apparently the coach is running them in training. I am certain that Rosenior is hammering them with fitness sessions. Certain. There was, I think it was the one of the weeks with the Arsenal game. It was very clear he hammered them physically on the off day. Or it might have been, I think it was after who was it? It was after I think it was after Wrexham. It was like very clear he hammered them physically. Argentine dwarf double pivot going crazy. That's funny. Fofana's also been bad, much worse than he was earlier in the season. Some of it has to be fatigue. He hasn't played this much in a long time, but you have to bench him like this. I think Fofana is mostly like mentally he has decided he doesn't care anymore. And that's when Fofana is engaged, he's very good, but I think he's very clearly not engaged right now. Garnacho challenging Lamal and Kvara and Messi. I agree. I'm glad you guys are finally seeing the light. Panicelli or Jackson? Jackson for sure. How are you watching this and thinking he can turn this around? I'm not, personally. And then what's my number for Palmer? 120. And if your medical team like knows more about what's going on than everybody else, I would have no qualms with doing it. I think Palmer's great, but like, again, my thing is like, assuming that they can have a good process to replace him and do smart things behind him, yes, but they don't. So like, don't get rid of the players who are good because you'll fuck it up. Is where my brain is right now. What would my starting 11 be for the next couple games to chase Champions League? I am giving everybody a week off. Like everyone who's not on international duty is not coming back to London until next Sunday at the earliest. And then we are having like really slow, soft tactical sessions until the Port Vale game. And then Port Vale, I am playing Sharman Lowe. I am playing Gusto at right back. I'm playing Josh at right center back. I'm playing Sarr at left center back. I'm playing Hato at left back. I'm playing Andre and Asugo as a double pivot. I'm playing like anyone who traveled is not playing in this game. So like I don't know if Andre's in the Brazil squad. I assume not. But like if Andre's in the Brazil squad, he's not playing. But I'm playing Asugo. I'm playing like legit nobody. I'm playing Pedro Neto because I don't care about him. I'm playing Guiu. I'm playing Delap. I'll play Tosin. I don't even care. I don't care. Play Josh at right back. No, I want Josh at center back. I don't care. Play Sarr at right back again. Who cares? Yeah, play Kavum McQueen. There you go. Like I would literally nobody is playing in this game. We are going so conservative. I'm playing like my actual lineup is probably something like Gusto, Josh, Sar, Hato, Asugo, Lavia, Kavuma McQueen, Estevao as a 10, Neto left winger, Delap as the 9. Something like that. Maybe Garnacho left winger, sure, whatever you want. I don't care. Antwi over Gusto, sure, I don't care. Whatever you want. But no Enzo, no Caicedo, no Palmer, no Fofana, no James, no Andre, no João Pedro. Like, none of those guys are playing. And the guys who all travel aren't even training until Sunday. They're getting 4 days off. After everybody else got a week off. And then we go serious for City, and you are going like the craziest team you want for City, and you are going like starters, and you have nothing the rest of the way. So, like, you can go your best team every single game after that. You'll have an FA Cup weekend in there, but you're going your best team the rest of the way. Best you can get is Enzo Caicedo full 90. If Enzo or Caicedo touch the pitch in this game, I may fly back to London and assassinate this man. I don't know. But you go into this like crazy run of like, if you beat City at home, you beat United at home, like that's 6 points. It's a lot of points. And all of a sudden things get very interesting. I don't know. But yeah, everybody is taking a full week off on the international break who's not traveling. And everybody who is traveling is, when they get back on Wednesday, is not training until Sunday. And I'm telling them, don't even fly back to England. Fly straight to Dubai, or fly straight to Mexico, or fly straight to Spain, or wherever you're going to go, somewhere warm, the Algarve, and stay there until Saturday night and come back Sunday morning, and you can train Sunday, or you can train Monday, and then we'll go for it. What is your take on the Jorginho Chaperone controversy? Genuinely one of the funniest things that has ever happened. Literally ever. Also, I think one of the really funny things is that like the Brazilian prime minister or something like banned Chaperone from Lollapalooza Brazil because of this. And I saw a lot of people, like my sister texted me and was like, "Who's Jorginho? Who is this guy?" My sister loves Chaperone. And I'm like, you got to understand, like, the most like mid footballer is so much more famous than a pop star. It is unbelievable. Like, I guarantee you there are more people globally who would recognize Jorginho than would recognize Chaperone. It was the mayor of Rio. Same thing, whatever. Well, not the same thing, but you know what I mean. So, we'll see. Assuming we got Champions League, would we not just find ourselves in a similar position next year? I mean, there's always the chance that like eventually they figure out the recruitment and the manager figures it out and they get better. I mean, I thought that I didn't hate this summer, and I definitely underestimated the physical impact of Club World Cup. And I thought Chelsea would be better this year. Like I think my model projection ended up at 73 points. But the first draft of it, before I started because the way I work is like, I get a model output and then I'm like, okay, how does this match like what I think about a lot of these things? And I was like, I think it's too low on Chelsea. Like I was definitely more positive. And so I definitely like put my thumb on the scale to see how to push it higher. Like things like Esteval was like, okay, what does that mean? Um, like what does Esteval's league translation look like? What do the center backs look like without Colwill? When does Colwill come back? What season do they get out of the goalkeepers? How much does the finishing look like? Like those sorts of things were like, okay, you can squint at it and get it there, and like clearly that was wrong. Top Dog says, what does figuring out the recruitment even look like? I mean, like getting players, buying players that like directly impact winning for you probably is what I would say. Like if you look at all the players that Chelsea bought this summer, I mean, let's go take the look. Chelsea spent 340 million euros and this summer, and I would say the only player in this list to like meaningfully impact winning is João Pedro, and like sort of Esteval and like a little bit Garnacho, maybe. So like 30% of your net spend. Like if we say João Pedro definitely has impacted winning, been good, great player, and like Hato a little bit, Esteval somewhat, Garnacho a little bit, like you're probably 30% of the 300 and whatever million counts. I would probably do more of that, the good players, and less of the bad players. That's probably what figuring out recruitment looks like to me. Also, like just cleaning up a lot of the back end of the squad that has like actually made things really that has made things like quite messy. And like they got a lot of bodies out this summer to the point that I was like, oh, we might actually like there might be some clarity with this squad. And they just have not. They just have not. Roshan says most of the things you mentioned did happen. That SV has been really good. Sanchez is really good. JP been good. It's Palmer, Caicedo, fatigue. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I totally underestimated the impact of the Club World Cup and the injury risk and all of those things. Totally underestimated it. Top Dog, not happening with the parameters these people operate in. Not getting needle movers when your criteria is cheap, low wages, and U23. I mean, the problem with this though is like a lot of these players aren't cheap. And like the wages are comparatively low, but they're not actually low. So I agree, but also you have this weird thing that like you've spent a lot of money on guys. Like the total cost of their annual squad hit, wages plus amortization, of players who like don't contribute really anything to you is very high. Like between Tosin and Delap and Lavia and Isugo and Buonanotte and like I don't know who else is here. Jorgensen. Like Jorgensen is a very costly backup goalkeeper. All of these guys are just like they are a drain on your annual squad cost and they give you nothing. And you should probably have fewer of those guys. So and if you look at the very cheap buys, like the player trading buys at the low end, like your Carneys and your Amugus and your Cassidays and whoever, like all of those guys, I think they have spent too much on a lot of those players, and I did not like some of them, but they've also gotten out of them all like semi-profitably, and they're, at least for those players, like if they sit on your bench and don't play, it's not that big a deal if Cassidy doesn't play at 21, because even if he doesn't play, like in a year and a half, you'll move him for what you paid or a small profit. It's way less of a problem than like Tosin sitting on your bench on $100,000 a week doing nothing. Like that's way more of a problem for your squad. So again, I care about the incomings for next year. I do. I 100% do. But I almost care more about cleaning up all of this and cleaning up all the guys on loan. Like what does that look like for you? Like get rid, get rid, get rid, get rid. Like you can do so much more, and you can be so much cuter about this. And then like guys like whoever, Derry and Muka and Kavuma McQueen and Walsh and all these guys, they can play. Like if you think about the cup games, right? Like let's think about Walsh and Derry, just as an example of two players. They have played a combined 60 minutes this whole year. Derry has only gotten that many minutes because his game went to extra time. Buonanotte played 690s. You paid $3 million on the loan. You probably played $2 million in wages for half a season of Buonanotte. Or you could have played Reggie Walsh some of those minutes. You could have played Derry some of those minutes. You could have played Keanu Dyer some of those minutes, whatever you want. And now, like, do they get a more interesting loan? If you decide to move them this summer, is it a more favorable movement? Like, one of the things Liverpool did really well under Klopp, in my opinion, was they were very aggressive with cup appearances for young players, so that you have like I think the perfect example is someone like Tyler Morton, right? Like, how much did Tyler Morton move for this summer? Or Gerald Kwanzaa? Like, let's just go through. I want to go to the all Liverpool transfers. Like, Tyler Morton, this is league. I got to go all comps so I can see like the weird random cup appearances. Yeah, like you just have like 5 there, 6 there. Like they just like absorb a bunch of these random games. Yeah, FA Cup, EFL Cup, just absorb a bunch of these random games. Champions League, where like you get all these little minutes. And I think that's very helpful. Let's go all transfers. Yeah, like they get 10 million for Morton, for a player who like objectively not really a 10 million player. Like he had one decent season on loan in the championship, 2 decent seasons on loan in the championship, and you get 10 million for him. Kwanzaa, you get 35 million. That guy sucks. Ben Doak, you get 23 million. Like all these like random little guys that like if you were just a little bit more aggressive with playing them, you get more. Seb Vandenberg, 24 million. Fabio Carvalho, 24. Like all these guys didn't play. Like they weren't good, but they just played a little bit. And it helps. It all helps. It all helps. Why do we have 2 sporting directors? That's as good a question as any. That's as good a question as any. The reason Liverpool could do that, well, we can't, is because we aren't sure to win in these cup games. Our consistently doesn't allow us to rotate like that. I mean, Liverpool lost some of those cup games. The point is not that it guarantees you the win. The point is that it's worthwhile to play them anyways. The reason Chelsea couldn't do it is because they had squads of 29 players every time. And it's very difficult for a manager to keep the locker room when he plays a 17-year-old kid over the 25-year-old bench player. Look at the Conference League. It was very difficult for Enzo Maresca to get kid minutes, except for the games where senior players didn't want to play, like that game in Kazakhstan. Daniel, it's hilarious how players like Cherki, Doku, Doué, and Krupi always manage to slip through these sporting director use strategy. Krupi is, I will give everyone a pass because Bournemouth did what we do with Strasbourg. So that's like saying, like, I don't know. It's like, well, Chelsea haven't bought anybody good from Strasbourg. I guess Sarr, but they own Lorient. So it was like a bit of a shenanigans. Like he would have moved for 25 million otherwise. Doku moved for 60 million. So I also don't think that's like a youth strategy thing. And moved to Rennes before they owned the club. Cherokee, I think, is a big miss. I think it was very obviously a big miss in the summer. I didn't really understand it. Don't get it. I thought he was the perfect foil for Cole Palmer, where like they're very similar players. You could have played him in similar roles, give you a lot of insurance to rotate. I thought it made a ton of sense this summer. He was very high up on my wish list. And Due has hit, but I don't think Due was that good. Like I wasn't. He was maybe not a tier 1 prospect. Barcola from Lyon to PSG was one I looked at and was like, ooh, probably would have wanted that one. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that they could do better across the board. The players, the coaches, the directors, all of them. I do think one of the things that is like intentionally like vague is there's multiple people in so many roles that like it's very difficult to assign accountability to anyone. Like the fact that there's 2 sporting directors, like maybe one of them's good and one of them's bad. Maybe they're both bad. I don't know. It's impossible for me to say. And that feels like a feature, not a bug. Fermian 55 million would have smacked, but they did almost sign Xavi Simons. Yeah, like I don't know. What do you think about getting Lee Kang in? Think he would be a very useful creative player and commercially makes a lot of sense too. Yeah, I mean, I think generally we overstate the relevance of the commercial part. Like, for example, shirt sales. People are like, oh, you buy a Chinese player, they'll sell so many shirts, it'll be worthwhile. And like the reality is clubs get a very small portion of shirt sales. Most of that money goes to Nike or Adidas. Personally, like I don't think there's enough there from Kang that like I'd be really into it. But I think there are benefits on like the sponsorship side, what you do for preseason, like that sort of thing. But like ultimately they can't even get a shirt sponsor. Like the most marketable part of your club, the thing that goes right on the front of your shirt. Like, okay, who are the name that I associate with this team? They can't even do that. So like I don't imagine they would have I don't imagine they would be able to properly monetize signing a Korean player, for example. We've been linked to Kim Min-jae, so I wouldn't put it past him. Kim Min-jae is interesting. I watched him play for Bayern against Lazio, and he was so bad. I like couldn't believe it. If PSG move on from one of their wingers between Kvara, Barcola, and Due, that's who we should buy. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Kvara, probably not. He's probably too expensive for us now, but Barcola, maybe. I don't know. What else do you guys want to talk about? Because, like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably not going to stream until the end of the year. Unless something, like, interesting happens. Because, like, there's nothing else to talk about. Like, this is what the team is. They're not that good. The coach isn't that good. They're probably not going to make Champions League until somebody gets fired or until there's a big change or until, like, I don't know, we roll off City and United back-to-back wins, and even then I'm going to be superstitious and I'm not going to come back. Like, I don't know what you want me to talk about. So, like, the podcast is probably going to go away for a while after this because, like, it's not particularly fun to have the same conversation every week. So I don't know. Coventry won. Frankie Lampard, 9 points clear. It looks like he's gotten himself out of their little slumpy slump. They went through like over the Christmas, they went through like a real rough patch. Yeah, like all of December, January, whatever. And now they've kind of come out of the other side with like 5 wins on the bounce. I guess like 6, 7 wins and 8. It's pretty good. You'll take that. That's kind of what you need to do. And like the underlings have been pretty strong all year. Like this is certainly not a 3-0 game, but they've gotten really good production out of a number of guys. They've played back threes, they've played back fours, they've played 2 strikers, they've played 1 striker. Yeah, they've had a good year, and he's done a great job. I think they'll come up, they'll get destroyed, and they'll go right back down, but they'll go back down 200 million pounds richer. They'll go back down 200 million pounds richer, and then they'll rebuild and do it sustainably and whatever. Like, one of the things I was really sad about was, let's see, was like Luton Town. I thought Luton Town did everything perfectly when they got promoted, where they got promoted to the Premier League. They spent all their money on young players, like players that they thought like, oh, these guys will be good for me in the championship. And then by like hook or by crook, they got smashed, get relegated again. And now they're like they're mid-table League One, and like all those good young players are gone. And now you just are in this like brutal position. Like, it's very unfortunate. But I think Coventry will try to do similar, where they will try to spend it sustainably. Saeed Al-Mala, left wing option. Al-Mala's really good. I wanted to somebody showed me this. I don't know the guy's name who made it, but it's like an FBref chart table thing. Yeah, Al-Mala has had a nice year. He has had a very decent year for Colne. I think the fees that are being talked about are too big. I think the fees getting talked about are too big. I think he's pretty interesting. He can play off the left. He can play as a 9. Takes a lot of shots. Takes good shots. Scores. Creates a little bit. Like, he's very similar to Garnacho structurally. So I don't know. But it's an interesting. It's certainly interesting, is what I will say. Can we scrap the Chelsea podcast and instead full focus on pastry and pastry only? Give me a sec. I got pastries. Pastry time. I haven't had a pastry in a few weeks. I know it doesn't look like it, but we got a dark chocolate scone, a very large dark chocolate scone that is very good. And there's one. And a chocolate almond croissant that is also very good. And I will have one of those later, and I will have one tomorrow, and that will be my life. Is delicious pastries. Has the pastry been cooked 117 times in 12 months? It's played a lot. Let's see. Keep private equity out of pastries. Totally agree. The a fun thing that is interesting is this bakery, when they were starting, they like community fundraised to build out the brick and mortar. So it's all community funded. Check Al-Mala on McClockbot. Went to the. Oh no, this is the right one. Wild radar. Let's see. International football. Are Canada playing anyone? I actually don't know who Canada are playing in this window. Saeed Al-Mala. Where are you, Al-Mala? There you are. Center back. Sure. I wonder if... Why does he have center back minutes listed? That's very bizarre. Wow. Yeah. That's fun. That's definitely fun. That's definitely fun. Yeah, we'll see. Roshan says, I'm going to Quebec City in the summer, and I'm just going to dedicate half a day to getting pastries. Quebec City, for those who've never been, Quebec City is like so beautiful. Like I cannot. Quebec City is if you took like 1600s Paris and then put it in Canada. It's really nice. Very, very big fan of Quebec City. Way better than Montreal, in my opinion. I tell all my American coworkers, they're like, I want to go to Canada on a trip. And I'm like, okay, do you want a big city? Do you want historical? Do you want French? Or do you want nature? And if they want nature, I say go to Banff or go to Vancouver. If they want a big city, go to Vancouver or go to Toronto. If they want history, to go to Quebec City. And if they want all of those things, do Montreal and Quebec City in one trip. You do like 3 or 4 days in Montreal. You do 3 days in Quebec City. It is so romantic. It is so beautiful. Like you can walk on the cobblestones and take a cruise down the river. And like there's all these really delightful restaurants. You can go to like the old hotels where like crazy Canadian documents were signed. Like Quebec City is unreal, man. And then Roshan says, speaking of Canada, the BMO Field expansion is so ugly, man. Yeah, the BMO Field expansion is like pretty hilarious. It's like outside the stadium. Like this is what it looks like. It's like outside the stadium. But in my opinion, it's great because I remember, I don't know, I probably have not told this story on stream before. So this is the south end. This is the side with the lakes, with the lake on it. They built this in 2018 for I think we talked about this on stream, that they built this in 2018 for the Grey Cup and the Winter Classic, and it was so fun watching games out there. So I think the north side looks way worse. The side that they've built behind the goal, I think, looks way shittier. So we'll see. It's expensive, and the city doesn't want to pay for it. And like TFC don't sell out, so like there's no, and the Argos don't sell out, so there's no point. Yeah. Iceland and Tunisia both in Toronto. Yeah, I'll take that. Tunisia are a good team. We'll see. They called up Arabim Pepple, which is like one very strange name. But he is playing for Plymouth Argyle, and he scored, but it's a lot of it's like a decent number of penalties, I think. Only one. But he scored at like a good rate, and he's like finally figuring it out for himself. He scored a bunch as a really young player in Canada. But yeah. That's quite amusing. They had a stadium for that Russia World Cup in 2018 that had temporary seats like that. It looked ridiculous. Yeah, I think it was either one of the Moscow ones or it was like the crazy Eastern European one. I'm going to tell, I don't know if I've told this story on stream before. So I went to Russia for the World Cup in 2018. And it was super fun. Super fun. Like genuinely the best trip I've ever been on. So we flew Toronto to Warsaw to St. Petersburg was our flight on the way in. And we stayed in St. Petersburg for a week and then Moscow for a week. And we went and saw Argentina, Nigeria, where Messi scores the crazy goal. and then Rojo scores the winner late, and Maradona was stretchered out of the stadium, and we were like 2 sections over from Maradona, so you could see him in his box. And like they had like these glass barriers, and you could just see him, like his grubby, coked up hands. Like you could see the powder on the glass from his hands. And him just like abusing the Nigerian fans when Argentina scored the winner, like flipping everybody off like this. It was crazy. But St. Petersburg was super, super cool, really fun. But the funniest part of the whole trip was that in Russia, they ran free trains between all the host cities. So if you had tickets to a game in Moscow and you were in St. Petersburg, you got a free ticket into Moscow 2 days before the game and 2 days after the game, in and out, and you could do whatever you want. So we were like, hey, we have our tickets in St. Petersburg. The day after the game in St. Petersburg, we went to Moscow, and then we flew home from Moscow. And the trains were all free, right? So you had to like show your passport and your match ticket to like some FIFA official, and then they would let you on the train, and they were like sleeper trains, so there was like 4 beds or whatever, and you would get on these trains to go from one city to the next. And they're not like high speed trains. I think the train from St. Petersburg to Moscow was like 8 to 10 hours, something like that. And so there are like a million people outside the train station trying to get on trains because you had to pre-book them. And if you didn't book them, like you were in trouble. Like it was very hard to get on. So there were like a million people outside the train station. A lot of Nigerian fans because I think their next game is going to be in Moscow. And so we get on the train, and we're like, man, this is packed. And we show our passport and whatever. We go to our car. And we're like, we hope we don't have somebody like weird on the train with us. And we're sitting there waiting. And the train starts moving. We're like, oh, nice. We have a cabin to ourselves. And these 2 guys come running by. And we're like, oh, that's weird. And then they come back and are like, is there anybody else in here? And we're like, no. And they're like, can we come in here? And we're like, I guess. And it's these 2 Mexican guys. And what has happened is Mexico were playing in Ekaterinburg, the like very far eastern stadium. And there was 1 flight a day from St. Petersburg to Ekaterinburg, and they were playing that the next day. But the train to get there was so long that they wouldn't have made it if they did not get on this flight from St. Petersburg. So they went to the airport and they missed their flight. They called them over the radio or something and they missed them. So they went back into the city. They got on the train. They snuck onto the train, past passport control, came into our cabin, and we're going to go to Moscow to fly from Moscow to Ekaterinburg to go see Mexico play. And so they like whatever hang on, and ends up they lived in Canada for a long time, so we were chatting the whole time. And then they have literally like gotten off the train, immediately gotten a cab to the Moscow airport. They have bought their plane tickets on the train to fly to Ekaterinburg, and I never found out if they made it. And it was they were very interesting set of Mexican gentlemen. And I think that Mexico lost. Anyway, so like they went through all this like, yeah, they lost 3-0 to Sweden. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure they lost 3-0. And they like went through all this personal expense to get to Ekaterinburg, and then they lost 3-0 anyways, which is remarkable. Strasbourg are losing because, of course, they're... Oh, my God. Montreal lost? They were winning 3-1. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Also, this ending 3-0 is so funny. Spurs are cursed. Inter beating Fiorentina. Ooh, Strasbourg losing to Nantes. Maybe they should play Anselmino, man. I don't know. Look up New Zealand's recent fixtures in preparation for the World Cup. New Zealand men's soccer. fixtures. Results. China, Sweden. I don't see the issue with this. We played all terrible teams. What's wrong with this? That's quite amusing. Best possible outcome, we relegate Spurs at Stamford Bridge. Worst possible outcome, we lose them to keep them up. It would be so misery if we lost to them at home for them to stay up. I would be so disappointed. Just Philly says, what were some signings, Chelsea or not, that you were genuinely surprised by in a good way? Like, damn, I really like that. Oh, somebody said that was 2023. Why would ESPN show me 2023? Results and fixtures. Ooh. That's not good. Oh yeah, this was in Canada. They played in that weird tournament. England. Oh wow. Yeah, they're in trouble. Good luck with that. Transfers that surprised me in a good way for anyone. Transfers that surprised me in a good way. Palmer was definitely way better than I was expecting. Way better. Like, so much better than I was expecting. Andre Santos, I think, has been like better than you could have hoped for 12 million. Marcus Bettinelli, fabulous transfer. Mendy, I think Mendy was like, Mendy had solid Liga numbers, but not amazing. And like, so good. Thiago Silva, I think, far surpassed any expectations you could have ever imagined. Chilwell, I was pretty low on the Chilwell signing. I thought we overpaid pretty significantly. I like the Kovacic deal. Jorginho was definitely better than I thought as well. Giroud. I think Giroud surprised pretty positively. Marcus Alonso, I think, definitely exceeded expectation. Pedro definitely exceeded expectations. I'm realizing I just like think all of Chelsea's signings are bad as I go through this. Like, anyone who was good, I'm like, I thought they'd be bad. But like, most of our signings are bad. So like, that's, I liked Fabregas and Costa. I'll give you that. I really liked those. Who else? Who else is in here? I remember being so high on Nemanja Matic as a signing. So high. I really liked Nemanja Matic. Who else? Positive surprises. I think Azpilicueta like hit way beyond anyone could have hoped for. Like, he was so good. Biamoto, would you pick Alonso over Cucurella? Alonso is so clear. Peak Alonso is so clear over Cucurella. Actually, Alonso is really funny to think about. Like, if Alonso was playing today, like, can you imagine Alonso attacking the box? How good he would be? Like, as the free, like, whatever, inverted fullback who just go crash the ball. Oh my God. The things he would do. Cahill hit beyond everybody's wildest dreams. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, that would be fun. Sesko has been a lot better than I thought he would be this year. I didn't think Sesko would would score as much as he did. But I think United have been pretty smart about, like, we're not going to start you. We're going to bring you off the bench. We're going to give you some time. We're going to slow roll it. And you're going to come in and just smash subs. And, like, it'll be good for you. I think they've managed his situation pretty well. Zoa says end of the stream. Why? Why? Actually, that is a good point. I don't have anything else to add. Anyways, I think like I said earlier, like probably not going to stream for a while or have a podcast for a while. Just like there's not that much to talk about. Like when there's something to talk about, I'll bring it back. But until then we won't. I'm not going to force it. So we'll see. If you want my, they came back. If you want my predictions, Chelsea don't make Champions League. Rosenior's fired, and we go from there. Aren't you watching the Madrid derby? No, I don't watch La Liga. It's not fun. I am gonna go watch the end of Minnesota-Seattle though. Kansas City losing to Chicago. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's it for me. We'll see how the next couple weeks go. Enjoy the international break. We'll, who knows? Maybe we'll come back from the international break and everything will be fixed. Someone just said Win Stanley sacked. Are you memeing? Or are you saying we hope we will return to Win Stanley being sacked? Because there's a chance. Somebody let me know if Win Stanley was stacked. If Win Stanley is sacked right now, we will stream for another 3 hours talking about it. But I think that's wish casting. Win Stanley. That's not how you spell Win Stanley. Win Stanley. No. I was asking if you predict him to go. We'll see. I would bet Stewart is sacked before Win Stanley. I would bet Stewart is fired before Win Stanley. I had a question on Rosenior why his defensive ideas haven't translated, considering that you thought that would be what you would bank on translating. Yeah, I don't know. He's gotten significantly more aggressive with his pressing ideas than he was in Liga for reasons that I don't quite understand. I thought he had a good blend of like zonal and man marking principles that would work, and I thought he had a pretty good understanding of what the strengths and weaknesses of this group would be. And as the fixtures have gotten harder, he has gotten progressively more insane with those decisions. So it would appear I am wrong. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you in, who knows, a month, maybe, something like that. As always, enjoy enjoy something else. Don't enjoy the soccer. Go enjoy, listen, it's 32 degrees Celsius. I'm going to go sit by the pool and watch March Madness basketball, read a book, enjoy some pastries, spend time with your friends, take your weekends back, do anything else. Go explore the English countryside, go to a museum, look at some art, pick up a new hobby, anything better than watching this shitty team. Do anything else with your life. But whatever you do, enjoy.